question. So I would never be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for my mom and my dad. Let me explain to you why. This is going to make a lot of sense. My dad, I'm having a conversation with this guy. He's like, well, let me tell you, I just made $15 million and I'm 38 years old. I have a 5-year-old, 2-year-old, and 1-year-old. And I'm deciding to just stay home and never work again because I want to be able to give my kid what they never got from what I got from my daddy. I'm like, bro, what a lame way of looking at it. He says, what do you mean? I said, can I be direct with you? He says, I said, okay, what do you want to transfer to your kids? What are the top 5 things you want to transfer to your kids? Never thought about it that way. Well, let's start thinking right now. So what do you want to, I want to transfer them love. Awesome. She'll be number 1. What else you want to transfer to them? He's like, stuck. I said, let me tell you what my dad transferred to me. From the day I was born till today, my dad's worked 6 days a week. Not because he has to. He used to work because he had to. He stopped working because he had to, but he still works 6 days a week. In Iran, he worked from Monday. In Iran, the Sunday is Friday there. So we only have 1 day off in Iran. He would leave at 5 o'clock. He'd come at 8:30. Worked every single day. And he drove 2 hours to his job in a city called Karaj. We lived in Tehran, and he drove a Xi'an. Xi'an is like a Pinto in Iran. And then we had a Renault when we started making a little bit more money. So my dad taught me hard work. My dad worked at a 99-cent store in Inglewood down the street from Great Western Forum in a plaza for people that know that area right next to Video 2020. Mm-hmm. If you know what that area is, that's where my dad was. And he taught me never to be afraid of the truth. He was tough on me on keeping my word. He dropped out of school in 8th grade, knew nothing about math, couldn't read or write, but he shared values and principles to me, right? My mom, on the other side, was the most paranoid person I've ever met in my life. I've never met anybody more paranoid than my mom. My mom was always worried. You know, the warrior versus a worrier. My mom was the ultimate warrior, panic, anxiety, stress. A lot of it passed down from family, but she was always worried. So if I came home one day, I didn't know who I was with that day. I'd have to see where my mom is that day. Are you crying today? Are you worried today? Are you happy today?
Wow.
So I had to learn very quickly to size up who I'm talking to today.
Okay.
So it kind of gave me the ability to have a little bit of study of human nature and body language because I had to do it early on, right? My mom was good in math. My mom was overly paranoid, which you need in business, overly skeptical, slow to trust anybody. All of those qualities can work in your favor in business, right? Sometimes in personal life it can hurt you, but in business it can help you. They obviously clashed. They didn't work out. My mom, I'm getting her place right now. She's coming down here. My dad lives with me. So we're all going to be within literally within the next 60 days, we're all going to be within a 0.4 mile radius.
Wow.
All of us. And I've worked very hard to get it. I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
Yes.
But, you know, when we're younger, we only see the ugly side of our dad or mom, and we're rarely seeing the good side. And my pastor once told me something when I was 25 years old. He says the father-son relationship or the parent-child relationship goes through 3 stages. First, you idolize them. Then you demonize them. Then you humanize them. Your goal is to go through the humanizing phase as quickly as possible. The later you go, the fewer time you're going to have with them relationship-wise. And
how do you expedite that process, getting through the humanizing stage?
You can't, man. It's
right.
To each is different. You know, it's like you can't do it. Like, you know, how fast do you find a wife or a partner to be married? You can't expedite that process. That part is tough, especially nowadays. Marriage, all that's very, very hard. But you do your best to try to gain wisdom by making a lot of stupid mistakes fast. The faster you make mistakes, the faster you gain wisdom. Sometimes we make mistakes slower. I'm about making mistakes faster. And I learned that later on as well.
What's the stupidest and biggest mistake you made?
Trying to force to change people. So for example, rather than asking you who you want to be and what do you want to do, it was just telling you who you should be. And that never worked. You know, I was in my first 7 years of being a sales leader. I never built anybody. Never. First 7 years, none of my sales guys ever made any real money. Maybe $50,000 to $100,000 a year, but that's not real money living in California. And then one day I took full inventory. I'm like, listen, you're making money, but how come your guys are not making money? You can't sit there and point it at them. Why is it? Then I realized, okay, driving people isn't based on what's important to you. It's about what's important to them. When I wrote the book, Your Next 5 Moves, move number 1, Stephen A., was who do you want to be? The sooner I can identify who you want to be, the better I know how to drive you, right? And everybody's driven by, you know, different things in life. Like I got 4 kids. My oldest is into politics and is into movies. He's 12 years old, so I'm taking him to the Film Academy here in New York the next couple weeks to spend some time with him. My youngest son, 10 years old, he could care less about politics, and he's okay with movies, not crazy about it, but he's all sports. He's got the Bo Jackson body, like the big butt, the legs. Dylan is the athletic guy. It's all he wants to do. He's in camps. He's playing with high school players right now, college players. That's all he's obsessed with, right? So the sooner I know what matters to them, I know my daughter wants to be a baker. My 3-year-old, I don't know anything about. Even my wife, I'm like, babe, what do you want to do? After we sold the company, we're in Monaco having a conversation, and we came back one time, and we're driving to go have our celebration dinner when we're selling the company. And I said, babe, what's next for you? She said, what do you mean? I said, what do you want to do next? She says, what do you mean, babe? I said, we just had a massive exit. What do you want to do next? Where do you want to go next? Here's what I want to do. Well, babe, that's a tough question. I know, but let's start thinking about it. How can I support you? What do you want to do? So forcing, biggest mistake ever. The moment I flipped at 28, 29 years old, everything became so smooth and easier to deal with people. Because if you didn't want to do it, I'm like, no problem. Do your thing.
So it made you a better father.
Oh, I mean, my oldest son really helped me be a better father. But I learned how to be a better father through my father and by making a lot of mistakes with people I coached early on. A lot of mistakes.
Made you a better husband?
Work in progress, baby. Work in progress. That's a lot of work. Marriage is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Because at least if you have 4 kids, you have 4 options. Right? When you're married, you don't have any other option. At least
that's the option.
If you work with a client and you can fire a client, you can
You're
fire.
sitting next to one of my producers, just got married 2 weeks ago.
There you go. Listen, and I tell everybody, when it comes down to marriage, when I was getting married, this lady named Claudia and her husband at the time, Alfonso, gave me a book. And it was called Advice from from Men and Women Who Have Been Married for Over 50 Years. What was the opening quote in the book? Marriage is the greatest mistake you'll ever make.
Wow.
The alternative is the market is filled with a lot of people right now in their 60s who have no kids.
Yeah.
I understand not being married and you tried it once, didn't work out, and then later on it is what it is. But I encourage trying it. It's the greatest risk you'll ever take, but the rewards are, when you have a child, you're holding a child, you're talking to a child, you're having a conversation with them, and they grow up, and then now they're giving you feedback. You're having real good
telling you what you're wrong about, thinking they know more than you.
What a beautiful thing, to go through it.
It's hard.
It's annoying.
It's hard. It's annoying as hell, but it's very rewarding. And I tell you what, the thing about me, I've never
especially
been
your kids if they're like you.
Oh my Lord, oh my Lord, my 2 daughters are something special, man. But I tell you this much: it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I think it saved my life because it gave me the balance. I'm able to dial it back, reel it back, and keep myself and elevate actually my level of control because I got them to think about it, not just myself. If I'm just thinking about me, oh Lord, who knows what mistakes I would have made.
I'm with you.
Listen, I got to ask you this. I'm looking at this, 1.94 million YouTube subscribers, 5